Emily was 25 years old when she opened a letter that was never meant to be opened early. An old envelope with worn edges and familiar handwriting that read, "To my daughter, open this when you feel lost." And her hands began to shake because she already knew who had written it, her father, who had been gone for 16 years. And as she sat on the floor of her childhood home holding the letter as if it might disappear, the silence around her felt heavy while her heart raced. And when she finally opened it, the first line stopped her completely. "If you're reading this, I'm no longer there to protect you, but I hope my words still reach you," causing her to break down in a way that was raw and uncontrollable, because it felt like something she had missed her entire life had suddenly returned through those words. And the letter did not feel random or emotional by accident, but perfectly timed, as if her father knew exactly when she would feel lost and need him most. And that was when Emily realized something shocking. This letter had not been written recently, but many years ago, long before she became an adult, and even before her father died. Meaning this letter was not alone, because somewhere inside that house were more letters written for moments her father knew he would never live to see. And to understand why those letters existed, we must go back to when Emily was only 7 years old, and her father Daniel was still alive. A quiet man who did not express love through big words, but through actions. Walking her to school every morning, even when late for work, waiting outside her classroom until the bell rang, and sitting beside her bed every night until she fell asleep, making him feel permanent and unmovable in her world. Until one afternoon, when Daniel went to the hospital for what he believed was a routine checkup and returned home with news that quietly changed everything. As the doctor told him, the illness was serious, had already spread, and could not be cured, only slowed. And Daniel did not ask why or panic, but instead asked one simple question: "How much time do I have?" And that night, while the house slept and Emily dreamed in the next room, Daniel sat alone at the kitchen table under dim lights and heavy silence, picked up a pen, opened a notebook, stared at the empty page for a long time, and finally began to write. Not for himself, but for the daughter he was slowly preparing to. The first letter Daniel wrote was simple and meant for Emily's 8th birthday. And in it he did not write about illness, fear, or himself, but only about her, about the way she laughed too loudly in public, about how she asked questions adults could not answer, and about how naturally kind she was to others. When he finished, he folded the paper carefully, placed it inside an envelope, and wrote on the front, "Open on your 8th birthday." Then sat quietly before opening his notebook again to write another letter for the next year, and then another, until one letter slowly became many, each written for moments he knew he would never be present for. A letter for when Emily would turn 13, warning her that the world might try to make her feel small, but reminding her that her voice mattered. A letter for her first heartbreak, telling her that love should never make her feel afraid or take away her dignity. And a letter for when she would turn 18, explaining that independence does not mean loneliness and that asking for help is not weakness. Daniel was not guessing what life might bring. He was preparing his daughter for a future without him. So he bought a small wooden box and placed the letters inside in careful order, each envelope dated and written with purpose, then locked the box and hid it where no one would find it, not his friends, not his family, not even Emily's mother, because this was not about secrecy, but about presence, as Daniel's greatest fear was not death, but disappearing from his daughter's life, not being there on the day she doubted herself or felt alone or wished someone older and wiser could guide her. And in one letter he wrote, "If life feels heavy when you read this, rest, but do not quit." And in another, "You are allowed to fail, but never allowed to stop believing in yourself," writing slowly and carefully as if every word mattered, because to him it did. Until 1 year later, Daniel passed away quietly, leaving behind a 9-year-old daughter who did not yet understand death, only absence. who waited by the door for footsteps that never came, as life continued moving forward with school days and birthdays, while the wooden box remained hidden, waiting silently for the right moments, the right years, and a daughter who did not yet know how much her father had left behind. Years passed, and Emily grew up carrying a quiet sadness that never fully left her, a sadness that followed her through school events, birthdays, and moments when she wished her father were there to say she was doing okay. And she believed that all she had left of him were memories, until one afternoon when she was helping her mother clean the attic of their old house, surrounded by dust, forgotten boxes, and objects that had not been touched in years, when she noticed a small wooden box tucked away in the corner that felt different the moment she picked it up. And when her mother saw it, she went silent before softly saying that it had belonged to Daniel. And as they opened it together, Emily saw dozens of envelopes inside, carefully arranged and dated years into the future, causing her hands to tremble as she picked one up that read, "Open on your 18th birthday." And she sat down on the attic floor, heart racing, as she slowly opened it and read the first line, "I am proud of you, even if you do not feel proud of yourself yet." At which point her tears fell without control, because the words felt perfectly timed, as if her father knew exactly how much she had doubted herself over the years. And with every letter she opened, the feeling grew stronger. Another letter reminding her that she did not need to have everything figured out, another telling her to love deeply but never beg for love, and another promising that feeling lost did not mean she was failing. And with each sentence, Emily felt as though her father was sitting beside her, guiding her through moments he had never lived to see, realizing that these letters were not random messages, but carefully written answers to struggles she had faced in silence. And as she held the stack of envelopes in her hands, she finally understood that her father had never truly left her, because even in death, he had found a way to be present exactly. At the very bottom of the wooden box, Emily found one last envelope that was different from the others, thicker, heavier, and marked with words that made her pause for a long moment before opening it. "Open this when you feel truly lost," and she already knew this letter was meant for the moment she was living right now, so she took a deep breath and unfolded the paper, where her father had written that there would be days when life would feel overwhelming and unfair, days when she would question her worth and wonder if she was strong enough, but that she should remember she was never alone, even when it felt that way, because love does not disappear when someone dies, it simply changes form. And he reminded her that failure was not the opposite of success, but a part of becoming who she was meant to be, that rest was not weakness, kindness was never wasted, and that she did not need to prove her value to anyone, because she had always been enough to him. And as Emily read the final lines, she realized that her father never saw her graduate, never stood beside her during her biggest decisions, and never got to watch the woman she became. Yet through those letters, he had guided her through every stage of life, teaching her how to stand back up when she fell and how to be gentle with herself when the world was not. And in that moment, Emily understood something that changed her forever, that love is not limited by time, distance, or even death, because her father may have left the world years ago, but he never stopped being her father. And if you still have your parents, this is your reminder to talk to them, to listen, and to hold them close while you can. And if you have lost them, remember this: love never really leaves. It only waits for the right moment to remind you that